Hey, brother.
Yo, there we are. Sure.
How you going?
Good, bro. Just got down to my beach spot.
Oh, nice.
Show you if I can. Let me reverse the camera here.
Don't know on the Zoom.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, wow. This is where you do some of your videos, hey?
Yeah, bro. I I usually only do them when I feel pulled, but like the minute I come down here, I've got like space. It just stuff comes up, and also
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, I've got coffee too. Good
Joke.
man. Good man. Um, so yeah, I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I guess a beautiful place to start would be for you, bro, for your journey, for your experience. Like, how did you get into human design? Because that's been something that's coming up a lot with me, like the last week, which is hilarious. Like 3 or 4 different people now that I've been talking to about human design.
That's the calling.
Yeah,
It's like the way I look at it now, because it's like a lot of things. Things are good tools, but you can get stuck in things, right? And I think a lot of people get stuck in human design because it's such it's so powerful to get you out of your mind, but at the same time it's such great mind candy. So it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
both ways, you know. Um, but now I'm out the other side. It's the same as, like your guru kind of appears when it does
mm.
in human design's a guru, right? It sounds like it's calling you, bro. Yeah.
And
Um,
yeah,
yeah, as for me, bro, I've always kind of seen things a little differently. I'm sure you resonate with that. Always knew there was something else. Always like not quite as interested in the Maya and stuff as other people, maybe. But my my nan passed like 6 years ago now, and that was like the catalyst of something. I don't know, can't even explain it, but it's just it like catapulted me into this like searching, and I found myself on all these like online forums on Facebook and all these groups of people seeking or whatever. And there's this one woman, bro. She just kept popping up. She'd pop up, message me, and then just disappear for like months at a time, and then come back with a new account. It's like this guru. I don't even know who the fuck she is, bro. But she was like, "Hey, have you looked into human design?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "I think you're a projector." Um, so I ran my chart and I was a projector,
mm.
and I looked up a few things, and it was just like hooked me straight away. Like it was like none of it was new information. Like there's new information, but it was all telling me shit that I knew, and I'd
Yeah,
witnessed within myself, and I was like, okay, this is different. It's not telling me to do something; it's telling me how I am, and
mm.
it's giving me these like anchor points of my awareness to start watching myself, and I think that just creates the space, right?
Yeah.
Space.
I love that,
Yeah,
bro. Hey, I love
that's my
that.
journey.
Yeah, that's that's what I felt, man. As soon as I looked up my chart a couple of weeks ago, and I found that I was a manifester 3/6, and what I realized, like the key points for me, it's like informing and how I am with my relationships. Like I'm very, or in terms of just creativity, the idea arises and I'm boom, I'm into it. But it's also acting on the emotion. So sometimes like I'm really high and I've got these ideas and I'm just like, let's go, this is it, it's all happening. And then it just sits there. And then like, will I revisit that, or is it just it's dead now? But the biggest thing for me is informing, which is like a strategy, is it?
Yeah, that's your strategy. So informing.
Yeah, and how I relate that to my experience with my wife and just our relationship. The more that I actually inform and just tell my wife what I'm up to, the more that it relaxes me, and then we have that I guess that continuity that we're flowing. There's no resistance, and the less I inform, I find that's when we're finding ourselves butting heads. She's
Yeah.
she's a generator.
Okay. Is she aware of? Is she like interested in it, or?
Yeah, so she's got like she's in a business group with this lady called Sarah, who's like in Perth as well. She's an Italian lady, and there's this other Italian lady called Anna, and she's like a human design sort of coach or something.
Okay.
And a part of her business group is they all actually got like a free session with Anna, and she just went deep, I guess, into their particular human design. So she's aware of it and how I guess it relates to her experience as well as like for her business and stuff. But we've never really had a conversation much about it. And then that's when I was sort of drawn. All of a sudden, it happened. I was drawn into this human design, and then I made contact with Anna, and I had like a 20-minute conversation with her last week, and she was just basically telling me the very basics about it, not too much going into depth about my particular experience as a manifester. But yeah, it's interesting because then yesterday, my cousin Brooke, who yesterday or the day before, my cousin Brooke asked me, if I know what time of the year I was born? And I was like, yeah, I do. I told her, and then she said, oh yeah, because I'm something about human design. I'm like, that's interesting as well. It's just now, it's now all coming up all together, which is how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a calling, bro. I think, well, Ra, like, so the guy, he he speaks about it as well, that there's like 4% of 4% that are gonna actually get this. Like, 4% of the people who see it, if 4% of them will actually get the right use out of human design, whatever the fuck that means, right?
Yeah,
Like, whatever right and wrong is, but you see it everywhere. Like, a lot of people go in wanting to improve themselves and do all of this, and like, I probably went in the same, but for the 4% of the 4%, you like get to a point you like realize, okay, there's nothing to do here. This is like all about watching,
yeah,
and I feel like you'll get it, like, because you're coming in, yeah, like, you're way more like consciously advanced than I was when I kind of found it. I'm sure you'll be able to read between the lines, but yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
the the generator transformation's fucking huge, bro. That's the one. So like, if your missus starts following that,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
generator, like, get a few, like, I mean, generators are like, I don't know the percentages, like more than 60% of the world. Um, and they're running around with all the energy to build. They're the ones with the energy, the doers, that
Yeah,
sacred energy, that sexual energy, that creative energy. Like, not saying we don't have it, but they're running around, and it's up to them whether, you know, if they're following what their stomach's saying, if they're getting, like, if their stomach's like, yeah, I want to do that, and they do that, they'll feel satisfied. Can you imagine that 60% of the world running around satisfied, bro? Just like, oh, and then we feel that, and it bounces off, and then we feel satisfied. But most of them, they're doing shit by their mind, by what they've been told, like, to better themselves and follow your dreams, all this mental fuckery.
hmm,
So they're just running around frustrated. So the world's frustrated, and then we amplify it, and it's just like, fuck. So that's cool.
wow. Yeah, man. And so you're a projector?
I'm a projector, yeah.
Yeah. And so what's like I guess what does that mean for someone who's never heard of human design?
So a projector, we're like the newest type, or the newest kind of setup from, I think it was like the early 1800s, when we became nine-centered beings. I won't go too deep into all of that stuff. But basically, we're here to see, like, quite deeply, um, and we're here to guide people. We're here, and like, that can be like a bit of a trick. Like, that was a fucking ego trip for me when I started, because it was like, I'm here to guide everyone. And now I've realized it's like, it's not about trying to do that. It just happens. Like,
Yeah.
people like hang around. Like, I lived with a couple of manifestors at my last house, and like, like clearly was guiding them innocently without trying. Just certain things you say, certain things you do, like that kind of thing. It's just the energy of it. But yeah, we're here to see and guide, and we're non-energetic beings, so we sleep a lot. we're here to, we have like a very tight relationship with generators, in that we're here to like guide their sacral energy into building something, so they're not running around just like, it's like channeling it. But again, that's all just words, so it's about watching it.
Yeah, because you get deep into it. Yeah, you can get deep into it, and then you can form an attachment with it. Hey, like, this is your identity now. Oh, I'm a generator, or for me, I'm a manifester.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I see that.
And it will happen, bro.
Yeah,
like, like anything you get into along this trip, like with that awakening IO or any of the stuff, it's like you get into the thing.
Yeah.
But like the real cool shit is being able to let it go and get out of it. That's you move to the next one.
You almost have to have the thing to get into it, then for you to detach from it. And then with that awareness, you have to go through it.
100%, bro. And I think with everything that's, I think there's such a huge group of people who get in, because it's as an overall in consciousness or awareness, any of this stuff. So many people are waking up somewhat, but then they're just getting caught in the battlefield. They're not able to like step out. And it's the whole point, right? Stepping out.
Yeah, caught in the identity, and then now you've got like a group of people who have that same experience as well, so you can identify with that. Like, oh, we're over here together, created like tribe, but then realizing that it's actually we're all just one anyway, and separating from that identity that we've clung to. But yeah, I'm just coming out of a transition, brother, for myself as well, with the whole my awakening and going through my awakening experience. And at the start, I had a look back on my Instagram when we first connected. It was like almost this time last year. And and I posted a video, and then I remember you commented saying, "Have you heard of human design?" And at that time I didn't. You said like a lot of the language I was using is very similar. And I remember going through my awakening, and when I first went through it, and then found myself as a coach, and I was like, "This is it, and the world needs to know. I need to spread the word. Got to wake up the world."
You are a manifester, bro. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to inform a bunch of people.
Yeah. It's all part of it, eh? It's all part of it. But even and coming back into the manifester, I guess I'd just like to know. So the manifest and the 3 and the 6. What's with the numbers? 3 and what do they sort of mean?
So the 3-6 is like, that's your profile, right? Each of the numbers is taken. So do you know how the chart's kind of calculated? So so there's 2 parts. There's one calculation when you like leave the womb, like when you're born on that day. So your birthday, and the other calculation is 88 days before that, right? And you're made of both, and one's the body, and one is the mind, or the person who we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
That thing that's thinking up here. So from each of those, there's a number taken. It's taken off your sun placement. A 3-6. So yeah, I'll describe it this way. So the profile goes from numbers 1 to 6, and you'll notice this trend when you're going through human design more. But think of it as a house. This is how they describe it. So the line 1, that's foundations. It's searching for the foundations. The investigator, that's like me. I'm an investigator.
Yeah.
You talk to me about something that interests me, I'll be fucking researching that naturally. Yeah. It's just line 2, it's like they're the natural. They have the information. They don't have to research it. They just know. They're just the natural. The line 3, they're the people who take the information and test it. right? So your third line, right? So it's about testing the information. It's like if I say to you, hey, I wouldn't touch the element on the stove, it's hot, you'll be like, "Tss," you'll touch it to check, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta know, right? And so the third line, they're constantly bumping against the world. Quite robust. You know, you're made to bounce against the world. You're made to test shit out. You're made to make mistakes. Um, the fourth line is the person who takes that information and passes it to the next person. It's like the social butterfly, just one person, you know. Um, I'm a 1-4, so I investigate, then I share the information with one person like you. I'm
Right.
not, you know, like that's how I operate best. The fifth line is sharing it with everyone. It's like Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, this is what I've learned, and they share it all. Now the sixth line is kind of detached from the rest. The sixth line is like the Buddha, right?
Right.
Um, on the roof, they call it, sitting on the hill watching. So the sixth line for your first half of your life. How old are you?
35.
Okay, yeah. So you're going on the roof now, right? So
Yeah.
this sixth line acts like a third line until you're Saturn return, like 30 years old, roughly 32, maybe 28 to 32.
Mm.
Yeah, so yours is interesting because there was a lot of bumping against the world, a lot of testing things out and learning and all of that. And now there's a sense of like stepping back, moving onto the roof, sitting on the roof, kind of retreating a bit and just watching from the outside. That's kind of the 3-6. But
Mm.
that's just me picking it apart. There's like you can listen to other people talk about it as well. So it's like,
Yeah. It's I'll just say this, like what's coming up for me, bro, is there's a lot of similarities with my life experience that relates to these numbers. And exactly what you said, like around the ages of 30, 28 to 35, whatever it is. Like I'm 35 now. When I was 30, that's when I had my first daughter. And when I was 33, that's when I had my full on, like what I would describe as my awakening experience when I went through COVID. All these changes, I had this feeling inside of me like I'm going to go this way. It was the first time where I actually started listening to myself really fully instead of like being, I guess, squashed down, suppressed, and doing what everyone else does. That was my full-on awakening, which is it's interesting because it's in alignment with exactly what you're saying um, from the numbers. Yeah, so I find that fascinating.
that Saturn return's huge, bro. It can be like an upheaval. That's same as me. Like mine was about around 28. I even remember having an awakening on like my 29th birthday night. Some type of satori or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a bit of a trend with that. You said something about COVID.
yeah.
What do you think? What do you like? Not talking about what do you think about COVID, but in terms of going through this sickness or this illness, or you know, um, there's a guy I listen to, Martin Grassinger, who's big into human design, but also the health side. I think he's a naturopath, maybe German guy. He talks about illness and consciousness. Talks about children going through like chicken pox or measles and how they, like him watching his own children, they were just changed at the other side. It's like going through that is almost like a rite of passage for your awareness or consciousness if you
Mm.
allow it. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like that's what I experienced, brother. Like going through COVID, not so much. I didn't get it until only like last year when I traveled to Germany, because my wife's from Germany. And but before that, going through that, like I just felt that there's been such a shift. Like for me, it was that opportunity for me to slow down
Mm,
because, as I said before, I was just like sort of always, I was just moving. I was always in thoughts about other people's thoughts about what I could do with my work. Every job that I ever did was like on the back of what someone else did, sort of thing. So I feel like it was a massive shift in in consciousness all around the world, bro. For me, it was just an opportunity to slow down, to rip me out of my programming, out of what I was doing. in daily life.
It's that mental trip, man. It's like you're stuck in a fucking ocean, and
Yeah.
you don't know. You don't know till you know. And you're like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where are these thoughts even coming from?
Yeah.
Where the like, yeah. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing about human design, which is cool, is there's a part of it's called rave psychology, and you basically look at so you look at your chart, right? You've got the colored in centers, which is you. That's who you are. That's what's not changing. All of the white centers, they're all being conditioned constantly by people, by the weather or the planets, by everything, and they're directly connected to our mind, right? So
Yeah.
for instance, what did you have? You had a open head center, which is thinking about things that don't matter, right? Which is just it's just a natural thoughts come up that don't matter, and you just go down holes. But you've got like the open solar plex, which is what I've got. You don't have, and it's like avoiding confrontation and the truth. Open egos, like it's like a lack of self-worth, so you're trying to prove yourself. But all of these things, they compound, and they basically mold your thoughts. So if you start watching these things, you start seeing the thoughts, and not only just seeing the thoughts, but you're like, where the fuck's that coming from?
Mm.
And then you're like, hang on, that's not me. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit that's just being made up. And I've been trusting that my whole life. And it's not even from me, like you're taking in other people's conditioning and you're making decisions based on other people.
Mm.
So it's like our whole life, we've never been in our own authority. We've never been listening to ourselves, because our self isn't up here, our self is in the body. For you, it's the emotional wave. I talk about the emotional wave like a moon cycle for a woman,
Mm.
you're up, you're down, and there's maybe no reason. You could just be fucking down. You could be having the best day ever. You could be at Disneyland and be on a down.
Yeah.
You know, you could be in prison and be on an up. Doesn't mean anything, but it's just like watching that and like, yeah, getting out of that mind. And
Yeah.
then instantly you're getting past the duality, right? Getting out of the morality, getting out of the beliefs, the fears, the rules, the opinions, all of that shit. Suddenly you're making decisions from a place that's not logical, which is fucking scary.
Yeah.
But
The unknown.
yeah, but everything changes. Everything. Like people fall away. Like
I love this, bro.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it because I'm seeing it now in my experience. And so were you like, you say you're like 28 when you first had that, I guess, epiphany?
Yeah. So there's a couple of moments. Like I went to a Gnostic school in the Gold Coast. And I had some experiences there. I think there was a lot of things that contributed, but I think the initial, yeah, like there's that initial awake or like realization that's just, it's been unfolding ever since. It's still unfolding. I don't know if it will ever stop,
Yeah.
but you're seeing through the duality, just seeing things for how they are is kind of where I'm at now. Like, in human design, there's a lot of keys in his words that have helped with that. But yeah, I think you get to a point where you're not seeing good or bad anymore. You can see good or bad. Like if I saw somebody getting beaten up there, I'd be like, "Whoa, that's pretty rough."
Yeah.
But I don't see it as wrong. You know, there's no like it's perfect. There's nothing to change about it. It's just the big happening.
Just happening. Yeah.
Happening together, right?
Yeah.
Whether somebody gets shot there or somebody's born there, it's the same thing. It's all just life. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful, brother. And then I guess like coming up for me, so I'm just starting this exploring stage, this phase of realizing that the identity of the manifester. Um, and what would you recommend for someone who was like sort of starting out with human design, if they get called to? Obviously, keeps coming up in my awareness. What would you recommend for somebody starting to explore it?
So strategy and authority always first, because that strategy and authority gets you out of your mind with your decision making. It brings it back to the body. Even in just that, you'll start to deal with seeing your mind wanting to go one way and your body wanting to go another way, and like taking those little leaps. It could be something small. It could be going out for dinner. If you follow your authority just with that, the more you do it, the less you rely on your mind. I'd start there probably. And that's going to cover what a manifestor is and what your emotional authority is. And then from there, I'd just look at your open centers. It depends, like some people want the mind candy. Some people want to learn everything. Like projectors, we're here to like master a system, right? A lot of projectors they'll become analysts and they'll master or they'll learn all the bits. But if you're just like, that's not necessarily what you need to like wake up or use this as a tool. I think the basics are fucking, yeah. The basics are good. Like you've got stuff going on, right? You're doing your electrician work. That's where, like in the mundane, that's where the greatest bits of awareness are, right? You'd be just working along and see the thoughts, watching it and relating it to your open centers and all of that. Instantly, all of that, you're just creating a bigger and bigger space. Probably where I'd start.
I love that, bro. It's beautiful. I'm just getting back into the electrical work starting next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And also just just how beautiful it is just to whatever it is you're doing. It could be electrical. What do you do for work, brother? By the way.
So it's funny. So I've done everything. Like I've worked in IT and stuff for years, but recently I got invited to doing work for traffic control, which is interesting. I was standing there for hours by myself, just in my awareness. I was like, it was an interesting experience. Made a bit of money, and then I kept seeing all these kind of patterns popping up to do some sort of service-based business. Saw gutter cleaning come up again, just something real mundane, something easy. I was like, fuck it, buy some tools, run some Facebook ads, and like the last 3 weeks I've been really busy just doing gutter cleaning. So mundane.
Yeah.
But through that process, I was like, there was the mind going, you need to learn this, or you shouldn't do this, you need to do this, like all of this shit. I was like, fuck it, just do it. Just do it. And then it's just been rewarded. It's just like, for doing it, they're like, here's all these customers, just out of fucking nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? But again, it's that mind. Like you can see in little things like that how it just keeps everyone suppressed.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like, you get into your like art, right? So it seems so mundane, but you're there, you're so present in what you're doing. You're just yeah.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
And it's witnessing the thoughts in whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are, wherever you're being, just witnessing them come up. Because of course they're the thoughts that would stop you from doing anything.
100%, bro. They keep you comfortable.
Yeah.
So this, like, all of this stuff, so Jed McKenna talks about it, calls it spiritual warfare. That's one of his books. That's what it's like. It's a fucking war. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to like go and suddenly stop listening to this mind thing you've been listening to for 30 years.
Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? You're wrong, and go another way. Like, not
Yeah.
easy at all.
Yeah. It takes devotion.
But yeah, that's exactly what it takes, bro.
Mm.
And again, it's not something you can force. If you're on that path, you're on that path.
Yeah.
Here we are talking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And you would have seen it in your experience, bro, like getting exposed to all of this and then wanting to share it with the world.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
But you sound insane to
I know.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my partner's she's somewhat awake, but still, it's hard to maintain that relationship. Um, when I see no problems, and it
Yeah.
sounds insane.
Yeah.
Sounds insane. I don't see like the war, all of whatever the fuck's going on. People get caught up in, and I see no problems, and then it's triggering as fuck to people.
I
I'm
know.
sure.
Especially your partner, bro. Like bring that into a relationship, into a
Yeah, bro.
conversation. Like, what do you want for dinner? I see no problems in eating chicken or whatever. But also for me, man, for my partner, she's quite intuitive, like very in touch, but also going through the programming. But she's gone through her awakening as well. But what I love about her is she fully expresses she fully expresses herself in the moments that just gives me pure joy and inspiration for me to express myself. Like in certain situations for her, like almost like being confronted with like an authority figure or something, and then she just fully expresses herself. And I love that because it just gives me that inspiration and an awareness that I can express myself fully as well. Um, I love that. But then afterwards, it's now we've cultivated this relationship where we just talk constantly about how we're feeling or about what's coming up for us in the moment, which is the most powerful thing for our relationship. That connection, I guess, that's coming back for me informing. Um, and now it's like, okay, now we can unpack exactly what's happening because it's so interesting to see the mind, especially
Yeah,
for my wife straight after like a confrontation experience where she's expressed her truth. She literally just like logged off on a Zoom call the other day because she was expressing her truth, and the person hosting the Zoom call said, I think you should leave, and she's like, I think I will. She left, and then just unpacking that, how she felt was the mind started to gravitate towards like, was I coming from a place of anger, and like, did I make this person feel, like a certain way? And it just quickly runs for her. And I say, look at this. Like, this is what always happens for you after a confrontation or whatever. Um, but to unpack that now, whereas before, previous in our relationships or every other relationship, that would be the experience, the mind would just come in and it will just dictate how you're feeling and take you away, and
yeah,
that'll be your complete experience. But
and it
yeah,
will last, and it could last for days.
in some people's lifetimes.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's powerful having yeah, being able to communicate like that, because that's the only truth.
yeah,
Right? The right here is the only truth. Anything else is just a thought. So the fact that you guys are able to be like, oh, this made me feel like this. It's like, oh, interesting. You saying that made me feel like this. That shit, fucking awesome, bro. I love
yeah,
that shit.
yeah,
Because then you're fucking shining a light on the mind. Yeah,
yeah. 100%. And that is the truth. And it's just like it's a mirror. As soon as you express that, it's just all the guards drop, and you start to
yeah,
feel like what's happening in the moment.
yeah. And you can laugh at it. You can laugh
Yeah,
at shit that's fucking that seems like the worst thing in the world. You can just laugh at it. Yeah.
because it drops that personal identity with it, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. That's where it all stems from, right? It's that ego.
Yeah,
It's like what's hurting. That's what yeah, like I've been reading, there's been certain kind of gurus that have appeared now. They would fucking hate it if I called them a guru.
yeah.
They're like known as the anti-guru. But it's that thing. It's like, for me now, it's like if something offends me or if I get upset, I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, who's upset?
Mm.
What's upset? Why? Like, what belief is making a problem with this right now? Or like where is this coming from? It's always internal. It's like slowly untangling this fucking fuckery.
Yeah.
I think that's on my Instagram. I put a picture of like a house on fire. That's my thing, because that's what it is. It's a fire burning away. That's like the Zen, right, or whatever you want to call it. And that can come from so many places, but it's that those beliefs burning away.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, man. What who are the anti-gurus that are coming up in your experience?
Jed McKenna, bro.
Yeah, I love that video you sent me about Adyashanti.
Oh yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, must be heaps of, because so Jed McKenna, he's written a bunch of books. Spiritual Enlightenment, The Damnedest Thing. That was his first book. But he's very anti-religion, anti-belief, and not anti. He doesn't wrong them, but his whole thing's about the fact that none of your beliefs are real. Nothing. Like, the only truth is that I am existing. I'm existing. I can't even validate that you exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, comes back that much, but yeah, he's not even a real person, bro. The guy that's written it, nobody knows who he is. He's written like a bunch of books, and they've been like some of the most influential kind of books in terms of like non-duality and like real awakening. But he's written as a character called Jed McKenna purposely so people can't attach to this guru.
Oh
He doesn't,
wow.
right? And those books fucking rock your world.
Wow.
Yeah.
What books are they? So spirituality.
The first one is Spiritual Enlightenment, The Damnedest Thing. And like, some people, it depends, how you take him.
Yeah.
I reckon you'll see what he's saying and be like, okay. Because again, it's not teaching you anything. He's just making you see shit within yourself.
Yeah.
And his first 3 books, it's like an introduction to everything. Then 2 is like really seeing this ego personality or these beliefs that you're like made up of. And then his 3rd book, Spiritual Warfare, is about fucking destroying it all.
Yeah.
Like death, ego death, but he's good. Yeah, I
I
reckon
love
you'll
that.
like.
I'll check it out. Is it like, so then he's got an alias? Does he have anything on YouTube then, or is it just his books?
Yeah, there's nobody knows who he is, bro.
Yeah.
Got his books. He's even got his own printing company. Like, the books are under, it's a company called Wise Fool Press. Wise Fool. Yeah, there's all sorts of like little breadcrumbs that he leaves. Like, there was this link to another book called Transcending the Elegant Charade by a guy called Michael T. Ness. And then I broke it down as emptiness. It's another thing. It's weird, like him as well. I'm like, is this the same guy? Like,
Yeah, it's like a Banksy
yeah,
of awareness.
yeah, bro, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And then so even just that video that you sent me the other day, touching on that and Adyashanti, what are your thoughts about those sort of guys like Eckhart Tolle and Adyashanti, those sort of spiritual guys?
I actually went and saw Eckhart Tolle like 6 months ago in Melbourne when he came.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I think anyone who's like a guru in the sense of has a lot of followers, it would be hard for them to really transcend their ego while they keep getting pulled back into an identity by millions of people. So I think Yeah. I think a lot of them get pulled back. A lot of them have probably reached like really high levels, but when they come back, it's like their path is here for more of a mass crowd. And then once you like travel through that, you find like the little niche people that don't really exist, you know, like even in human design, Ra's pretty fucking niche. If you hear what he's saying, you're like, oh, okay, he's awake. He's dead now. So, but yeah,
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. They vary so much, and I think they've all got their place for like different, like different. Like it's such a like a leveling thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll know, like it's constantly every day or every week. You're like, holy shit! I seemed like I was a child yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, like seems like years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that even just like, I remember there was a phase where I kept sending you Adashante videos. So you're like, what are you hearing from this? Like, oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but now I don't actually see much of his content at all. It's interesting, eh? It's just how it goes, I guess.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
drift away,
Yeah.
and then something else will appear. Like
Yes.
it
Like a
has
human
to.
design.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe not even. Maybe like could have even been Jed. Who knows?
Yeah.
We never know. Like, yeah, never fucking know.
There's this guy called Terence McKenna. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Yeah. He must be very similar, hey, than to like that sort of style of Jed.
yeah. He's pretty good. He's like a kind of nihilist almost. Eh? A lot of these people are almost like nihilists. Like, but yeah,
What is
Terrence,
nihilist?
Terrence is more into like. I'll pull up because I fucked this up the other day.
Yeah.
I'll pull up. Mhm. Nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles and the
Mm.
belief that life is meaningless,
Yeah.
which sounds dark,
It sounds
but
negative, like or dark, yeah. But it's
yeah,
yeah, it's like the opposite.
exactly. But you got to see that to see that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like I am no one. Yeah, or nothing.
yeah,
Well, nothing is everything.
exactly. You're all of it.
Mm.
You're the observer and the observed. Yeah. Who, other than human design, which is like where we're at the moment, who else has been quite like influential for you in terms of speakers?
Well, Eckhart Tolle was one.
Yeah.
Ram Dass. I'm getting a lot into Ram Dass lately
Yep.
because I enjoy the ones that are like have that human touch to it. Like speak about their human experience because you can get lost in the whole. And I did for a long time of like spirituality and just like I'm the observer, of course, but like we're having a human experience now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the spiritual gurus and stuff like sort of lose that.
Mm.
So I like Ram Dass for that. Muji he's quite interesting.
Who's that? Muji?
Muji, yeah,
Yeah. I haven't listened to any of his stuff really. I've seen a few of his quotes pop up before. Like I know who he is.
yeah,
Yeah, you rate him?
yeah. I rate Muji. I can feel Muji.
Yeah.
I can feel Eckhart. It's the ones that I can feel that I go to gravitate to, and then I guess through Ram Dass is like some of the gurus that are involved there. I've got this book coming. I can't remember. It was from this. It was like an anti-guru as well. This guy. Um, when I get it, I'll send it to you. I'll let you know what it is. But it's like he came up around the same time as Ram Dass. When Ram Dass was searching for a guru, he found this guy in a coffee shop. Can't remember his name.
You're not talking about Maharaji.
Yeah, not Maharaji, but it was a guy that actually went to see Maharaji as well. Like Maharaji was his guru.
You know, have you heard of UG Krishnamurti?
No.
So there's J Krishnamurti, but UG Krishnamurti. I don't know how they get there. They must come from the same kind of places or something, because those two aren't related at all. But UG Krishnamurti is another good one. They call him the angry saint. He's fucking anti-guru as you can get.
Have you told me about him before?
Maybe, but
Yeah.
he's like, he's the perfect description of what an like enlightened being would be like, because he's angry, bro. He gets so worked up and angry, but it's not in a reaction. That's just him owning, like that's just how he is.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of us think like being awake means being like a Buddha or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like nothing can hurt me. Like,
Yeah.
nah. Like the any of the really spiritual or like really aware people I've met, they're just like us, bro.
Yeah.
Working a trade job, keeping to themselves, fucking going through their shit, just living the life, right? But yeah, he's a funny one. He's not for everyone though.
Yeah. That's what I resonate with, bro. That's what you can feel as well. It's like people that are actually just living their truth and expressing it. And you just find from people from all around the world, that's what I've been finding. My experience, they just gravitate to you as you just express what's going on. It's just a magnetic effect.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Do you find when you're by yourself, you find that like ego really isn't there much anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like there's like a sense of like silence or calm just when you're by yourself. And then it's almost like when you go into the wild or like the Maya or whatever you want to call it, it's like you put this costume on
Yeah.
to like deal with certain people, you know, like work and stuff, like talking to customers.
Oh, I find, bro, like even my job interview I had a month or two ago, I find myself in that role, like just playing the role, which we'll do. But then all of a sudden, he asked me a question and I didn't know the answer and I wasn't going to fake it. And I just said, look, man, honestly, I don't know. And then I just started expressing the truth. And then all of a sudden he dropped his cards and we started relating,
Mm.
talking about mindset, talking about like Think and Grow Rich, or this book that we read. And then he just showed me around the workshop. And it was, it was in that moment, it was just so beautiful because I could feel the tension inside of me. Like I need to give an answer and I just didn't know it. So I said,
Yeah,
I just can't remember. I haven't done that for a year or something.
yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
so I find myself just expressing whatever's going on more and more, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you
So
thinking now?
no, I was just thinking about like the amount of times I come down here, I just sit and watch. Like there's always people coming past, but it's just like there's like silence. It's like I'm in this like bubble watching, and there's like not really much thoughts or anything going on. It's just really like, but then I'll go get a coffee and it's like my costume comes on. I'm like, hey, how you going? Oh yeah, like have some jokes and stuff. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I leave afterwards. And I used to be like, man, I need to stop this. I need to be more correct. I need to be more myself when I go out there. But it's not it. Like that was me like not accepting it, right? Not
Mhm.
accepting that my ego is going to be pulled out of me when around other people. Like that's just how it is. But I think like when you're awake, you don't identify with it. You know that
Yeah.
it's a character. And then afterwards you pull back from it. You've seen it, you've watched the whole thing. You're not
Mm.
like, I'm Jono, I'm blah 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 with all this list of things. It's just
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that's it. You're just not identifying with it.
That's beautiful, brother. There's no more judgment of what should or should happen. It's just literally whatever happens.
Yeah, yeah. It's constant, right? It's
Yeah.
always surrendering every fucking moment.
Yeah. That's why it's a devotion, hey?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
It has to be.
yeah. Man, there's been so much like since moving to Geelong, um, like I moved to Sydney, then Geelong, and all of that has just been like, none of it's been the mind. My mind's been fighting it. Like it'll be like get an invitation because that's my strategy in human design. Wait for the invitation, and then I'll be like, yeah, sweet, like lit up by it. Like say I'm moving house, somebody will be like, hey, do you want to move in? I'm like, yeah, sweet. And then for the next month before I move, my mind's like, what about this? What about that? Like, ting, 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 and you just got to surrender. You're like, no. The decision's been made. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
None of these thoughts matter. You just got to fucking go with it. Just, and what's the worst that can happen? Nothing.
That's freeing, bro.
Yeah.
That's like intuitive, just allowing. It's and that's what I was saying before. Like some people you resonate with because they're doing this, they're living this, actually just living. There's a guy called Soul of Jarrett, Jarrett on social media, and Eben Britton. These two guys, they came in through my awareness through this other guy, through Matt Gamble. He lives in Sydney, and how I found Matty is like he's one of my best mates. We just always have these conversations, and I found him through like a. We both started. I did a post on this social media guy, and he started following me, and then we connected. He actually did the awakening program. He left, and then he's we just stayed in touch. We had this incredible connection, and he shared these two guys out of America, Soul of Jarrett and Eben Britton. They had podcasts together, and I started listening to them. And for me, it's always in my experience like it does present itself to me as well. Of like it comes through other people, or just invitations as well. But like that, a lot of the time it just shows up for me, and it becomes very obvious. Like 4 or 5 people are telling me the same thing. They're talking about the same thing. Like, oh, okay, oh, yeah. So this is obviously the way. But
Yeah.
the more in tune you get with that, the more you see it's happening, and everything is like just guidance of the next
Yeah.
moment, whatever's going on.
It's like seeing through the Maya, right? You're seeing the patterns. They're always there, eh?
Yeah,
So I'm starting to realize, because I'm starting to see the patterns more. Like, there's synchronicities, like real weird, like weirdly synchronistic. Like, it's like there's no way if this world, if this universe or consciousness was as chaotic as we're led to believe, there's no way this fucking would happen.
yeah,
Not, it's so, but we just can't see through it because we're so busy up here.
mhm.
But then the more you chill, like the amount of synchronicities I've had down here and patterns I've seen, I'm just like, yeah.
It's your still place. That's your stillness. It's your practice.
And then you're enjoying everything because you're seeing patterns in the mundane. Like, just go for a walk and you see the little patterns. You're like, oh yeah, I see.
I love that. The small things become the big things. It's all just one thing.
Yeah, bro. And then you like lose interest in the other things,
Yeah,
like the money and the power and all of that kind of shit. Maybe.
yeah. For me, it was like losing interest in some of the things out there that grab my attention. So it could be like back in the day, it was like drinking, like and then hanging around crowds and drinking a lot, and watching the footy, or these sort of things. I just slowly just lost my interest in that. But then come back to just enjoying. Well, for me, I've got young girls, young families, so just enjoying being around the kids, and they're just freely expressing themselves in every moment, and just having the childlike curiosity, bringing that back into my experience, uh, which is exactly the same as what we're doing through separating from thoughts. Come back to what feels right, what feels good, and being just guided through that.
Yeah, bro.
Beautiful. This has been a beautiful chat, brother.
Yeah, fucking oath, bro. Put me into like deep bits of thought. Yeah. A lot of this stuff I like because you go without talking to somebody about you don't fucking meet the average person on the street talking about this shit.
Mm.
You can go weeks without talking to people about this kind of stuff. But like on the days that you do, like I know today my awareness is going to be just because of this chat. I'm going to see some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have like a group for yourself? Do you have a few, select a few people, the real ones for you?
So yeah, I've got like there's a lot of connections I made through the human design kind of scene over the years. Just like you're saying, you meet the people that have somewhat, they're on your level or they're awake, and you kind of find each other. See, I've got some good connections through that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if it's a projector thing, but like I've got no reason to really reach out to people, because like, what am I going to talk about? When the interests are gone, like I got no, unless there's a reason, unless there's something, there's no mind sitting here like, oh, I should ask them about this, or all the thoughts come and leave really quickly. So yeah, it's usually I usually only really speak to people when maybe if they've posted a cool story that I resonate with, or it's something like that, something for me to like
engage.
Yeah,
Something's happening now.
It's even like the guy I've moved in with at the moment, he's awake, he's a projector as well. We've both gone through our journeys, and bro, there's not much talking at our house, because what the fuck is there to talk about? We've spoken about it. You get to a point you're just saying the same shit over and over again, and it's like, unless you want to try to force a conversation, hey, how was your day? That kind of like, how was your day, bro? Oh yeah, it was all right. How was yours? Oh yeah, same as everything else. So like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. How does that relate then, brother, to your partner then? How do you sort of relate in those sort of moments?
Yeah, we've got me and her have more to talk about, but we go in and out. Like, it's never been like a me and you like together forever thing. Like it's always it's like we've been on the same journey together, and then we go apart and then come back in, and then go apart and come back in.
Yeah.
It's more conversations like you and your partner have. It's like it's in the mundane.
Yeah.
But there needs to be space and time for that to come up. Like, you're not gonna, I wouldn't just get into that conversation with my housemate and just start being in the mundane.
Yeah. Certain people, certain energies, you can have that place where you can just express that. But yeah, for others, you're right. Silence is the most powerful teacher anyway.
100%, but especially when the non-silence is just based on bullshit.
Yeah.
I'd rather silence over bullshit any day. You know
100%, 100. Yeah, I do know what you mean.
It's just like, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's the beauty. Like, without that, it would be silent everywhere. So it's cool, having outbursts. Like, bro, yesterday I was driving, and there's this dude on a bike who was like, he was a druggo of some type. He was like loose as. I pulled out of this very, it was like a very suburban street. I was going like 10 kilometers an hour. I was like 4 meters away from him. He's like, "Ah!" starts yelling. And I was just gonna ignore him, and then I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna get involved." I was like, "Hey!" And then he came over. I was like, "What's wrong, man?" And he's like, "Oh, you blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Bro, what's?" But like, just getting involved because I wanted to, because it was fun. It was like a break in the mundane.
Yeah.
I like that shit sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Laughing about it because it was just fucking. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's so funny, And it's for some could have that experience and they could be like not saying anything, they'd be scared shitless, or so others like be like, fuck, here he is again, this guy. Just dealing with it.
Because it's like you go from seeing life so seriously to like seeing it as a playground.
Yeah.
And like, when it's a playground, you can do you can do anything.
You can play.
You play, bro. Yeah.
I love that, bro. I think we'll end it there, bro.
Sounds good, bro. Thanks for informing.
Thank you. Thank you, no one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I changed my name on this.
Yeah.
Um,
Was
if
he
you'd
name
like,
Jonathan or
Jono, John.
yeah,
I don't like Jonathan was who I was when I was born.
yeah,
Jono is like this character through my like teens and 20s. John is kind of what I use now, but whatever.
yeah. I've got an alias. I've got the Slank, Lanksy, Mark, all the different characters.
What do you prefer? Whatever.
Yeah, whatever, bro. Yeah, Mark or Slank.
Yeah. Not Mac.
Mac is my last name is McCormack, so Mac is just short.
Fuck Mac
Mark,
Mac.
Mark Mac, Mark
Mac.
McCormack.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, bro.
If you want, I can send you. Do you like audiobooks or books?
Both, but I've got a couple of books, so maybe if audio.
Yeah, sweet. I can send you through that Jed McKenna, his first book in audio if you want.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, brother.
All right, bro.
All right, you enjoy your experience.
Yeah, you too, brother. And
Lovely to connect.
Yeah, no doubt we'll connect again soon.
No doubt, 100%.
Ciao,
All
bro.
right, see you, brother. Church.
Ciao.
Kia ora.